This is Henry Hudson's tale. Thank you, sir, or is it madam, most kind. Have I time to talk? Alas, since my dear Louisa passed away, I've had all the time in the world. Am I Henry Hudson? Yes, why do you ask? My name's in the paper? What does it say? I'm a local character who would be missed. Is that all? Well, if we can stand out of this wind, I'll tell you my tale. I was born in 1857, the son of John Hudson, a master tailor, and Elizabeth. Father remarried after mother died, and we all lived on the high pavement in All Saints Street. My brothers were apprenticed to good trades, John as a printer and Cephas as a cutler. However, I was considered a bright lad and went to Parker's Endowed School. At 13 I was not only a pupil, but also a pupil teacher. Then, at 20, I realised it would be years before teaching would pay enough to marry my sweetheart Louisa, so I persuaded father that I should also become a printer. That was the first of two fateful decisions. Father would have to support me for 5 years during the apprenticeship, and Louisa would have to wait for me, as apprentices were not usually permitted to marry. Louisa promised to wait, and father secured a position for me as one of the first apprentices at Mr. Parker's new print works. This was at 14 Claremont on the old America ground. Life was good. I enjoyed my work, joined the sailing club, and became a cream cricketer, helping to found the Hastings Juniors and the Caxton Club. And of course there was Louisa. My apprenticeship ended on the 24th of March 1882, and we married straight away. We set up home in Old Humphrey Avenue, where our first daughter, Elizabeth Louisa Caroline, was born in 1883. She was followed in 1887 by Anne Maud Mary. Then in 1889 I took a job at the Kent Messenger. That was the second fateful decision. We moved to a nice little house in Maidstone and were able to supplement our income by taking an apprentice from the works as a lodger. That meant Louisa was able to stay at home and look after our girls. I still enjoyed my sport and looked forward each year to the coming of the cricket season, being a regular for the works team. Louisa and I were very content. Then came the dreadful day which changed everything. I shall never forget it. The 6th of June 1893 was a lovely sunny day. It had been chosen for an evening match on Pennenden Heath against the Maidstone Journal. We won the toss and I strode to the wicket, determined to put up a good show against their demon bowler. On the second ball, disaster struck. I mistimed my stroke and the ball flew up the bat and hit me full in the face. At first I was stunned, and then the pain came. I could not see for blood. I heard Louisa cry out, but then fainted and heard no more until I came to in the infirmary. I could not see. I thought because of the bruising and swelling. Then the doctor said, "We cannot help you here. Your right eye is ruptured and the left is badly bruised. You must go to the ophthalmic hospital if you are to save your sight." Imagine how I felt. A printer dependent on his vision, with a wife and children to support. How could we afford the fees? Then Louisa told me that my workmates and club members had raised money to pay our bills. I needed no more persuading, was admitted the following day, where I stayed for nearly 6 months. After 3 weeks, my ruptured right eye had to be removed. All hope now lay in the left, which had become seriously inflamed. But after 22 weeks, the doctors told me my remaining eye could not be further treated, and I was discharged with the sight almost gone. My little girl had to lead me out by the hand. A few friends decided to raise funds for Louisa to stock a small shop, selling sweets and stationery. News of this reached Hastings, and in March 1894 I learned that the Observer editor had published an appeal to the townsfolk for funds to support us in this endeavour. My old friend, now Councillor Charles Ball, wrote a letter in support recalling our days in the Junior Conservatives. Many people in Hastings and Maidstone were generous. Subscribers included Mr Noble, the Hastings MP, the Mayor and Mr Brassey. Louisa wrote a letter of thanks for me to sign. So, with that help, we set up a little shop, but the venture did not prosper. We struggled on until 1896, when we found ourselves in debt. Once again, the people of Maidstone and Hastings rallied round, and a committee was formed to help us. Their first action was to take me to the Royal Westminster Ophthalmic Hospital to see if anything could be done to stop the loss of my remaining eye. Sadly, the best doctors in the land pronounced my condition as hopeless. The committee then raised sufficient money to pay off our debts, and when I finally went completely blind, we made the decision to return to Hastings. We were offered a place to rent in Brewery Cottages, which no one else wanted because it was number 13. We took it as my luck could not have got much worse. By 1901, Elizabeth was earning money as a dressmaker. Annie at 16 was one of the first female compositors, and Louisa took in a baby to nurse, who eventually became our adopted son. With the little money I had left, I bought a second-hand street organ and tried to earn a few coppers, but my income was very small as the instrument was a poor one. In fact, it was so bad I was in danger of being labelled a public nuisance and losing my licence to play. Yet again my former employers at the Observer published an appeal for funds to buy a better instrument. In January 1902, Louisa was able to write thanking them and the people at Hastings for enabling me to buy a much superior instrument, to their and my benefit. I had to play in the evenings as the lad who guided me had to be at school during the day. I haven't played very often since the Kaiser's War. There are now so many young men in my condition, and they need the same generosity which I have received. Well, that's a local character's tale. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Louisa died aged 62 after many years of suffering on October 3rd, 1921, and Henry peacefully, aged 78, on December 15th, 1934 at Bourne Walk. He had outlived both his brothers, John dying aged 43 and Cephas aged 54.